Kansas City, here I come. You got some crazy little women there, I'm gonna give you one. We gotta be standing on the corner, 12th Street and Vine. We gotta be standing on the corner, 12th Street and Vine. Well, my Kansas City lady and a bottle of Kansas City wine. Well, I might take a train, I might take a plane, but if I get a walk, I'm gonna get there just the same. We're going to Kansas City, Kansas City, here I come. They got some crazy little women there, I'm gonna get me one.
Wanted to ask some folks to come up and give them a small gift. These are our retirees of the year, and they are in no order, particularly Gail Baldwin, Fred Mensch, Ed Paul, and Murray Kirsch. So is David Lecter around someplace?
No, he's nowhere.
He's nowhere.
He's a real nowhere man. I've only been here about 7 years, so it's been a real interesting experience over the last couple of weeks as we've had a couple of events for Gail. And Carolyn Gutierrez, who organized the one celebration for Gail, has the next office over. And so I would hear these hurried conversations between her and Mary Ann, who of course is on sabbatical, but the number's up to 25, the number's up to 30. God, how? Who knew she knew so many people? What the hell's going on? We're going to need to get in a bigger room. And of course, we ultimately did. So I've learned a lot. And most people probably heard the stories, of, the tennis and so on. And Gail is such a rounded person; it's just amazing. And what can you say about somebody that walks around with a sign that says, "Don't tell me about the match, I haven't viewed the videotape yet"? I mean, that's almost as striking as somebody that walks around with a sign that says, "Register to vote here." Shortly after I got here, I realized that Gail, like me, was a long-time baseball fan. The difficulty was that she, of course, had grown up with the Phillies, and I was a lifelong Braves fan. And we did discover, though, that we did have a mutual antipathy towards a couple of teams that are about an hour further up I-95. So that's something. And yes, back there. They said just to talk for a couple minutes, so I'll just one last thing. It just was a pure bit of serendipity. At the party, Mary Ann talked about one of her striking memories regarding Gail was that whenever anything went wrong with the computer, Gail's first reaction would be, "Well, have you rebooted?" And so the party went on, and I thought, that's really striking, that's really true. So I hurried home afterwards, and it happens to be a Wednesday night, and there's the new episode of South Park. And in this episode of South Park, the basic plot line is that the internet everywhere just disappears. And nobody knows, well, where's the internet? So finally, these federal agents are zooming in through this apparatus to the internet, which is this oversized computer. And they zoom in, and there are some lights flashing, and one of the main characters, Kyle Broslavsky, says, I don't believe it. And in a little while, he makes his way to this place, and he reaches over next to this large computer, pulls out a electrical plug about the size of a trash pail, waits 5 seconds, and plugs it back in. And having rebooted, the internet comes back up. And so, we have Gail to thank for that bit of wisdom. So Gail, there she is.
I'll give you a small.
Thank you.
Tessa.
I didn't prepare anything to say because I didn't know I was supposed to talk. Well, maybe that's good, so we can move right along. I probably, at my dinner that David referred to, I probably didn't thank enough people then, so I guess I could do that now. Thank everybody that came that night, and the people that organized, and Michael for his song especially. We did have a really good time, and I really appreciate all the time that it took to plan it and for people to come. This, of course, is fun too, and I was more relaxed because I didn't think I had to do this, so I'm going to exit right. Thank you.
In no particular order, forgot.
It's Murray.
I forgot who's introducing who. David. David. Where is David? He was here, I saw him. There he is.
Well, I suppose I work with Fred, and that's I'm sure all of you know what that means my life is like. It's the first place where half my salary goes to the senior member. But I have to say that with Fred, it never matters whose name comes first or who gets credit for what you do. I mean, Fred is, one of the things about Fred is that we did a lot of things, and he never, ever cared. As long as it got done. I made the coffee, he made the tea. We've been doing it for 5 years. It looks like I'm going to have to make the coffee for the next 50 years.
And the tea.
So all I can say is that what they said about Isocrates, the Greek philosopher, was that he had students until he was 93. And I think Fred's going to beat that.
We decided to get you a desk too.
Thank you, Michael. We were talking a little bit earlier in the party here that a number of us in this current group, especially I know from Ed and Murray, that we've been to a number of retirement parties of each other over the last couple of weeks. So we're thinking maybe we could make a business of it. So I'll be back in the fall to teach 2 courses as an adjunct. So at the end of the fall, I could retire again, and we could invite Ed and Murray back down and Gail, so we could do this over again, indefinitely. It's been fun being here. Thank you all.
Is Rogers? Yep. Roger's going to say a few kind words.
Yeah. Well, Ed has been with us for the past 36 years. And I joined Stockton when, in fact, Ed was Dean of NAMS. Not many people know that Ed was interim Dean of NAMS, and so, in fact, Ed hired me. And in those years, he tried to explain to me what Stockton was all about. And he said that at Stockton, we take students that have very little chance of getting to an elite private college and give them an excellent education. And so over the years, I know people have been wondering what does that what does that all mean? And well, last Saturday we had a party for Ed. And what was most impressive was that most of these students that have graduated over the years showed up. And these students all had significant positions. They made something out of their lives. In fact, even those that we thought were not going to do so have done very well. In fact, they've got meaningful jobs. Most of them are earning twice as much as we did. And one of the biggest, where the students call it an obstacle in getting a chem degree, is PChem. And Ed teaches PChem. If you can pass PChem, you get a chemistry degree. For somehow, Ed has been able to get the kids to pass PChem without the tears and the pain of the stains. It does it by nurturing them, by caring. And over the years, they built. It was one of the first group of faculty members, and they set up a non-traditional curriculum for us. A curriculum these days that, in fact, has worked so well that these days we get called from other colleges. They're buying into the trend, into a Chem 1, 2, 3, 4 trends that we teach, which was kind of odd at the beginning, but which in fact has worked well. It has also been a non-traditional chemistry program. Where else in America do you have a chem program or chem department? This is a science department with more female faculty than male faculty, where in fact the white males are in the minority. And that's all due to air. And finally, I want to really thank the leader for the latest workload agreement. It really impacts on the chemistry. For many years in chemistry, we teach 48 in our introductory chemistry levels courses for 4 teaching credits. The new workload agreement allows us to teach 35 for 4 teaching credits. Mike, thank you. And so we've made a difference. You've made a difference, and Ed, you've made a difference. And we thank you for it.
Ed, I've known you for my whole life.
It's my turn. When I came to Stockton to interview, the entire campus was A, B, C, and D wings. And at that point, they had planted oak trees around the edge of the building by where B wing is. And when I came back this year from sabbatical, I noticed that those oak trees, which had grown in 35 years, 2 really nice-sized oak trees, were cut down. This was a sign that it was time to retire. And so, I'm doing it. I wish you all the best.
And certainly not least, Murray, and I think Juan and Mike Colin are, yes.
Well, thanks for saving us for last. I met.
No particular order.
I first met Murray.
The oldest goes last.
I met Murray in 1990 when we worked together in a program in Malaysia, on the other side of the world. And I can still remember one quote that he gave me at that time, or gave a group of us, and that was that if you didn't write it down, it never happened. So I made sure that I came prepared for his accomplishments over the years here at Stockton. So it won't take too long. I've only got 7 pages. But yeah, Murray certainly does have a lot of accomplishments here at Stockton, and I certainly am glad and honored to have him as a colleague, and certainly very pleased to have him as a friend as well. When I first came here, it was primarily because I had made a contact with Murray. I had still been overseas, and when the Asian economic crisis hit, it was time for me to come home, and I contacted a few people. Murray was one of them. He said, "There's openings at Stockton, please apply," and here I am. Now, I'd never been to the East Coast before, and like most people who haven't been here, believe it or not, you know, the rest of the country doesn't see New Jersey the same as people that live here. So when I first came across the New Jersey border, drove across, and I'm expecting to see toxic waste dumps and gangsters in my tail. And I was really pleased when I arrived here and gave the Kirsch's a call and enjoyed their hospitality on my first night here with a nice meal and a place to stay, and showed me around and the campus and got me oriented. And I know, I've always felt that Murray's had my best interests at heart. The entire time that I've been here, it's a quiet thing, but it's something that I know has been around and he's helped a lot of people over this time. And he certainly has an eye for detail. I'm sure that Murray has every email that he has ever sent, has ever received, and can instantly pull any of them up. And if there's any statement that you have made back in 1983 that you don't quite remember right, he knows what you said. And that eye for detail goes on to a lot of different things. This guy is a walking encyclopedia of knowledge on so many different areas. If you need to know the best restaurants anywhere in the world, ask him. If you want to know the best wine, ask him. If you want to find a good travel location, that's the guy to ask. The latest electronic gadgets, he's got them. Ask him how to use them, he knows. There it is, there it is. So again, I am very pleased and honored to have you as a friend.
You just got an email. You got one of your old emails, right? 5 years ago.
So you got it? So you got the name of the student? I didn't check it.
I just sent him an email. We had lunch, dinner one Monday, and I reminded him something that he wrote 5 years ago. And he didn't remember it. So just yesterday, I sent him a copy of his email from 5 years ago.
What was the name of the student? I made a mistake. I didn't write it down, so it never happened. I'll try to remember. As you have already heard, Murray is a very versatile person. Perhaps I should add, for those of you who don't know, he has also been a DJ. So if you want to know about music, you can also ask Murray. He's working encyclopedia on that too. Why I'm here is because he's partly in mathematics, he's partly in computer science. Murray first graduated as a mathematician and then he left us. But we pardoned him. So because now we had him as a half person. So for a long time there were 8.5 of us. Now there are 9.5 of us. And there are going to be 9, unfortunately. The contributions of Murray are so many that I will forget some, I'm sure. Here we go. We have our mathematics seminar is the place where we get together, the mathematicians, the students, and the faculty. And Murray has contributed immensely to this seminar. He has volunteered time and energy. He has given talks, very interesting talks. He has volunteered his own students, gives talks. And the talks are always extremely interesting. This semester we had a talk on a very recent result on graph coloring.
Well, that's a risk what you're doing.
Well, it has practical applications. If anybody in this room wants to get, let's say, home, you don't know how to get home, and you don't know where you are, they can give you instructions and you can get home no matter where you start from. That looks amazing, but that's true. It has been a conjecture for a long time, and it's a result. And thanks to more students, we got to hear about this very interesting result in the seminar. So that was amazing. His most amazing talk was the amazing talk by Murray. That was a talk about messes, how to construct messes. A very interesting talk. So really we are very grateful to work. Yeah, I forget to mention, as being in charge of the seminar, Murray has also volunteered to take care of taking a website. So the seminar website has the funny name of Bourbaki. That's a fictional mathematician who never existed. That's very popular and has even published some. So he has had not only the website up to date, but also has taken care of taking the summaries of the students, which is a very hard task. He has been doing this over the years. And the problem is, who am I going to find now? Anybody wants to volunteer? And he has also put links, also very interesting links, to all the talks. I don't know if Murray wants me to mention this, but another thing, Murray has been a consultant for many external organizations. And I think one interesting story is once he had to be a consultant
in a judgment. I mean, he was
court case?
in a court case, and he had to testify against one of the party and in favor of the other party. And of course, he was using mathematics. He was quoting Bayes' theorem, which is a theorem. And of course, the other party had to invalidate. So he tried to say, well, you know, that theorem is not quite, it's not quite good. So Murray had to explain that in mathematics, unlike other sciences, things are either true or false. This theorem happens to be true, unfortunately. So there is very little you can do about it. I want to thank Murray for, and we are really going to miss him.
Well, I really didn't know that was supposed to say something here, but I've been noted to speak at length on any topic. Lately, a lot of people have congratulated me on my retirement, and my usual response is, and you know, is in fact, although I'm looking forward to retirement, I still enjoy what I do. If suddenly I were told that I'd have to work 5 more years, it would not upset me at all. Back in 1971, I was a junior faculty member at SUNY Buffalo, and I had read about this college opening on the boardwalk in Atlantic City. Since my bride is from Atlantic City High School and I'm from Philadelphia, so this sounds pretty interesting. So I went for an interview, and I came back, and we had friends and relatives at our house, and I can still remember the very words, even though this is 1971. I said, I felt among a group of kindred spirits, and a lot of years have gone by. I'm really looking forward to not having the usual constraints. As I told a few people recently, this September, we're going to enjoy the countryside in Italy with some friends from Australia and who are originally from Umbria. So we're going to enjoy some good food and certainly some good local wine. And so when we come back, we'll be able to tell you where to eat in Umbria. But certainly one of the things that we'll do is some afternoon we'll enjoy the sunshine, drink some wine, and toast to the kindred spirits back here at Stockton.
Well, it's all